international. It's fun for us, Bloxer, to say we're casting international, right? You get that little check on the box. But, you know, we saw kind of from like Showmaker yesterday playing LeBlanc and Malzahar that maybe not for funning it, but definitely having a bit more fun with how they approach this. So for Doinb, a guy that's played so many games on so many prestigious champions, maybe it'll be, you know, playing towards those more aggressive mid laners like you're talking about. We've flown through the ban phase, though, already, and we do see that they're going to get Raptor onto this J4. So always a comfortable B1, one of the premier junglers, but they do leave up some of those assassin options on the turn. And how about the young kid Naiyou? He's going to go Qiyana right after BFX immediately.
I really like that. The Qiyana has been one of the highest pick bans that we've seen, mainly just getting banned out. It can be so strong, and the fact that they're also going to grab themselves a Nico for Niket as well. This team fight's already kind of disgusting, right? If you step yourself a little bit too close to the middle of a lane, boom, you're just going to end up with that Nico ult on top of you. Step a little bit too close to a wall, trying to get away from that, you're just going to end up with a Qiyana ult. Like, this is a really tough way to try to move around a lot of these team fights. It seems so far like BFX are thinking about just setting themselves up a lot of standard lanes, some wombo combo potentially. This is just some great ball delivery system, and it's one of those most standard combos of all time, right? You hit both your ultis at the same time, anything caught in the middle dies. I think it's going to influence what NIP are allowed to play in their other carries. I don't think Leaf can take anything in mobile, or he's just going to be dead.
Do want to point out very quickly, oh, that's awesome. We're getting the Doinb Akali, so he is not messing around today. That's very fun. But little stat for everybody at home. This is the first blue side Orianna J4 we've gotten, but we've had 2 iterations of it already in the Asia Invitational, and it is currently undefeated on both red side wins. I actually believe BFX were one of those in a Game 1 win. So, or it might have been Nongshim. One of the, it was played in that series, and whoever played it won the game. Okay, listen, there's been a lot of games coming my way in the last 24 hours. But Akali Orianna, VicLa gets a comfortable mage, but not a comfortable matchup. So I would like to see NIP look to exploit this early and often.
This is one of the few matchups that the Orianna doesn't just get to sit and chill and farm. This is one you can actually go and try to exploit, especially alongside a Qiyana. You've got more than enough damage early on to go for these ganks and potentially just try to make it work. But this is very different between these two compositions. NIP, they've got themselves pretty much 3 assassins at this point, right? The Nico's got a little bit more in terms of just the utility too, but it still does a lot of damage. BFX, this is a super standard composition so far. They've got some great setup for any ADC that you really want to play onto your superstar AD carry. He's got a load open to him right now, and actually we've only seen 1 ADC ban go through. I do wonder if Leave is thinking about something like the Ezreal, like the Xayah potentially. You need some extra mobility right now, otherwise anytime you get caught, if you don't have flash up, you're just insta-dead here.
Yeah, think about dash marksman, right? So you mentioned Ezreal, that definitely stands out first. Seen League play that one before. I think Smolder can flap over the Cataclysm, if I'm not mistaken. I know Lee's been a big Smolder merchant as well. It's very fun. He's been one of the best stacking AD carries, I would say, in all of the LPL. The only person I can think of in the East that did it better than him was Viper, my goat there over on HLE. So got to shout him out whenever I can get a little shout out. But there is a champion that we thought was going to be very contested between these AD carries, and Diable is going to get the Lucian Braum combo. That is a scary bottom lane for Leave and Niket to deal with.
Absolutely it is. This is one that's really going to make you think, even with a Nico on side, which would usually mean, hey, we're winning our 2v2 matchup, we're going to go try get you. I don't know that you're going to be able to play this one, and the Yanara being offered right now, it has such a high ceiling. It's something that I really enjoy watching Leaf play, but it doesn't have that level of mobility that we're particularly thinking about. The lane is not easy to play through either, but hey, this NIP composition is a win more comp. If things start going well for this squad and they get a couple of kills in a few different lanes, you just run over what BFX have going, but in a more standard game that's even up to 15 minutes, I really like what BFX have. This is a very solid composition.
This is a very fun matchup to think about as for our second introduction into the LPL LCK battle, right? On the LCK side, the region that's known more for their controlled, constant play, they're playing a very structured team fight comp. We've got a Braum, Renekton, J4, Orianna Shockwave, and a Lucian to play through with us. We're going to look to be a group and move as a unit. And then you've got the LPL draft on the other side for NIP, where it's like, Qiyana's going nuts. I'm dashing this way. There's a Kali behind us. Where did this Nico come from? I thought it was a minion. Like, there's so much chaos that LPL, the NIP are going to bring into this game. And it's going to do one of 2 things, Bloxer. It's going to either completely feast and run this game over, or crash and burn in 20 minutes and we're going to game 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is a peak LPL, screw it, we ball composition, right?
Yep.
We're gonna go make it work right now. And the thing that worries me a little bit about that is not just that LCK teams kind of just don't do that, are very good at absorbing that in a lot of situations, is the fact that Raptor's got himself a J4, which is an excellent early ganker. He can get involved earlier on often than a Qiyana really wants to. As much as you can gank early as a Qiyana, you have plenty of damage available to you in these lanes. I don't know how much any of these lanes are really going to open up for the potential ganks and how much you're going to want to sacrifice going through your clear for it, whereas the Jarvan, you could 3-camp to gank if you want to potentially, and this bot lane definitely has enough damage and CC to pay that one back, and at that point, the second you fall behind with this NIP composition, it's going to take some miracles to get back in.
What a fun game one we have ahead of us. The methodical approach of a classic Orianna J4, a Renekton, and a Lucian Braum approach, and then let's just see what Naiyou and Doinb can do with the dual assassin. You rarely get dual assassin looks in League of Legends in the big 2025. And NIP are going to look to bring it to us once we get over whatever little pause we have. This is the nice part about the remote setup with some of these facilities is you get a little peek over towards what's going on. Don't worry, guys. Nobody's watching the VODs back there. That is the live client being watched for all of our NA representatives. That is a live client on a PC behind. No need to freak out. We have gone through these pauses before, though, and usually they're short. It's kind of just remote diff, right, Bloxer?
Yeah.
You run into these little snacks.
It happens. Somebody hasn't fully managed to connect their way into the game. They need to remake a lobby quickly, just get the few little bugs smoothed out, but hopefully we'll be jumping in as quickly as possible. Don't mind it though, gives us a little bit of extra time to talk through these drafts that are incredibly interesting, and just look into what we're actually looking at across the board. I feel like we've spoken a lot about what's going on in the rest of the map, but top lane, Solokill, he lives up to his name sometimes. In this specific matchup, the K'Sante into Renekton, you don't particularly expect it, but I have seen this happen. You step a little bit too close to a K'Sante who's near his tower, he drags you back underneath it, and all of a sudden, what was an okay lane matchup for the Renekton just completely flips. It's
funny, right? We get Solokill, and he's going to be playing methodical in this lane on the K'Sante. But yeah, I'm glad you pointed out when he ever did go onto the tank, I felt like his tank of choice really was K'Sante. Even once like Sion became such a big threat in the top lane as a tank, he really felt like the K'Sante was in a good spot. I'm glad you pointed that out because it is a sneaky matchup. There's a lot of Renekton matchups in lane that you like because of the kill threat, but I do feel like for Clear, it shouldn't really be about killing the K'Sante. It should be about farming well, getting ahead enough to be a big team fighter. Because as annoying as the dashing assassins are going to be, if Clear with Dominus popped gets on top of, a Nico and a Kali, can chain CC, even this Qiyana, he is going to completely wreck some of these team fights for BFK. BFX,
I mean,
excuse me.
Just so much squishiness available. Yes, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of invisibilities as well on the NIP side, so it's not going to be the easiest catches onto a lot of these members, but Leave has got a gigantic target on his head.
Well, it looks like we got through whatever little snag we had, getting everybody onto the server, and we are live for our first game of Day 2 of the 2025 first ever Asia Invitational. And we're already getting some shenanigans here as Clear looking to link up with Raptor and invade this top side of Naiyou, and good ward. I was about to say, he's walking into some treacherous waters.
Yeah.
We'll see how Naiyou and NIP approach this invade, because it kind of feels like BFX are trying to set up a home on this top side, or not.
Yeah, I mean, you could potentially look for a little bit of vertical jungling, but I just don't think that's what you want to be doing as Raptor in this situation. I think the bot lane is going to be the potentially explosive lane, the one you want to be looking at, and I feel like NIP have recognized that too. Leave currently...
Little poke.
Interesting. Yeah, a little bit landing. Yeah, Leave is actually just going to potentially make his home up into the top side right now and see if there's going to be any response from BFX. If there isn't, and you just end up in a Renekton versus Yanara lane matchup, you obviously have to be careful to not get a little bit too close, but that's just going to guarantee some much freer laning than you're going to get in a Lucian Braum matchup.
Yeah, so we saw this evolving meta strategy with the funnel coming across in yesterday's matchup. It's actually Clear that was having to deal with this before. He has experience. It was Jiwoo on the Ezreal. He's actually able to solo kill him up in his top lane matchup.
It's rough.
Don't think you could do the same with the Yunara, right? There's not a lot of kill threat, but
Clear
once again, the on the other side of the funnel strategy. Don't hate it, knowing that Solokill on the K'Sante can do much better in this sort of weird 2v2 set. But already we see Leave doing a solid amount of damage here into Clear, gets the lethal tempo going. So once again, Clear, let's see if we learn from the past transgressions and don't give up first blood towards an 80 carry in our top lane matchup.
Yeah, doing that would be incredibly rough. But I mean, it's already just a sucky situation for a Renekton who wants to have a little bit of lane dominance, wants to be able to push their opponent around a bit. Like you said, a K'Sante is never going to mind being in a situation where you're pushed about. That's why the K'Sante was so prevalent at the start of the year, where all of the lane swaps were coming through. K'Sante doesn't care about how many lane opponents are in his place. He doesn't care about how much you put him behind, right? Him and the Scion were just chilling throughout the entirety of that. Although Raptor, he's looking to punish right now. He's completely unspotted, and he's got level 3.
And Niket is not going to get here in time. He's still walking down the lane. They're going to land the stun Leave. I don't even think it's worth burning Flash here. He's going to use the barrier to buy some time, but Raptor can just auto this one home.
Yep.
And a great path there from Raptor. You talked about it, Bloxer, the J4 getting out on the map early, and Raptor proves why it's so potent.
Yeah, I mean, that was 4 camps straight up, head on towards the top side of the map, and just recognize that that was way over pushed from Leave without any recognition of where his opponents were. It was very easy for him to just be able to walk in. He picks up the kill right there, which I don't mind in this situation. You want your Jarvan ahead, get him rolling. We expected that it was going to be the bottom lane that was explosive. Not quite how we thought it was going to happen, though.
It was also a really big wave for Leave to miss out on. It was actually Naiyou that has to soak that XP. Now Niket just on the level 2 is having to flash away from Clear because he wasn't expecting Kellin to be nearby. So we're getting even wackier with this lane assignments. It's now top lane support comboed with Clear and Kellin versus, well, a bottom lane of Leave and Niket. So we've kind of swapped that weirdness that we had on the bot side. And now Leave's Diable up against Solokill in his own little 1v1.
You know who's absolutely winning this situation right now? Diable just chilling. He's up a huge chunk of CS because he hasn't died. He's just been able to sit and absorb all of his farm. He doesn't mind laning into the K'Sante whatsoever, even if Solokill's also chilling in this situation. The fact that you're getting a completely free laning phase early on is lovely.
Look at this pressure they're putting on to Leave. They're going to get the Braum stun into the Renekton stun on top of that. My God, BFX are on the full Leave hater club right now, putting this Yunara down 0-2 early.
Yeah, they've recognized who it is that is going to carry NIP to a victory and decided to just put him straight down. This is partly why I wanted to see something with a little bit of extra mobility for Leave, because he's so good on champions that can get him back out of trouble. He likes overstepping, he likes pushing a little bit too far, and on the Yunara, you make that mistake and you're just going to get taken out. Still, I don't want to take anything away from BFX. That was a really well-played gank. It's good recognition again, but also just the timing to keep the CC up the entire time. There's nothing that Leave could do.
Here we go, response from NIP. They get the flash out of VicLa. Good little look there from Naiyou, but oh my God, Clear. I think it just kills Niket. One auto short from finding another kill in this top side. And it is a bad lead to give up, but mainly I think it's a little bit more, manageable because you have allowed Naiyou to get a serious farm lead. Doinb is doing relatively fine in the mid lane, so those mid-game spiking assassins are going to be fine here for NIP. But they're already going to have to give a lot of time for Leave to catch up, as that late-game insurance policy that you mentioned, Bloxer, has won so many games for NIP down the line.
Yeah, he's been real strong for them across the course of pretty much the entirety of this year, right? But the highs have been high and the lows have been pretty bad. He's thrown a couple of games away that were fully within his grasp, that he'd been given everything by the team. This isn't necessarily one of those games, though, right? You're not thinking that it's just going to be Leave on this Yunara as the big threat in this game. You still got Doinb on his Akali, Naiyou right here on the Qiyana as well. The Qiyana that's been banned in almost every single game because it's incredibly strong at the moment, but he does just need to stabilize out a little bit and stem the bleeding. Otherwise, Raptor's just going to keep doing it. If he can walk into your lane every time and blow a summoner spell, why would he ever stop?
I'm glad you brought up the fact that this Qiyana is still incredibly strong because, some of the more patch-intensive ball knowers would think, oh, yeah, World's patch and the recent patch Summoner's Rift has gotten on live. Qiyana's pretty nerfed. ASI is playing on 25-19.
Yep.
All tournament long. So, you got to remember that on this patch, this is Exodia Qiyana jungle. Or at least a form close to it. So I'm glad you pointed out that Qiyana is still very strong and in a spot that it should be respected. We'll see if Naiyou with, again, 15 CS lead. He's multiple camps up right now on Raptor, can make the difference because Raptor has already affected the map enough, gotten his job done on the J4. It's going to have to be the damage out of this Qiyana that makes a difference.
Absolutely, and so far it's been very quiet from the members of NIP. Other than a little bit of a lane swap towards topside for Leave, everything else has been pretty chill. Nobody's trying to overpress any potential advantages that they have found, which makes sense at this point in the game. You're really looking to get that first item completed to really make this composition roll for NIP. But as we highlighted during the draft phase, right, this comp has to get ahead. Not necessarily right now, but I think at about 15 minutes it's going to be incredibly critical. Still, we've got ourselves the first Drake on the board, as well as the Grub spawning in 20 seconds. Doinb, good reaction time to get away from that shockwave.
All right. 0 for 1 there, VicLa. That's all right. You got a couple more chances coming to you. Let's just stick the ball to Raptor, and success will come on that one. How much of the bite does that take out of BFX, though, for these Grubs, as we see Naiyou actually go all in with the flash into the Spruce's talent. They get the snare onto Raptor. Great catch there from the young prodigy jungler for NIP, and that'll lock up Grubs done and dusted.
Nice and easily. There you go, NIP. And this has been one of their best attributes, has been their early skirmishing, especially when they can get a couple more members involved, get Leave involved in some of these plays. They're just going to be able to fight off at least 2 of those Grubs going to go over, although the BFX side are going to try play this one. Diable will open up with the culling.
Naiyou had smite, though, so he's always going to pick up that last Grub. They're just trying to be a bit annoying. Pretty critical as well. Huge play from Naiyou, but kind of love where the kill goes if you're NIP as well. They get it on to Leave, so he's able to actually neutralize the gold lead, only down to about 100 right now for Diable. And with how far behind he was earlier, that is pretty massive for the game state going forward in Ninjas and Pyjamas' favor.
Yeah, you really need to just get yourself that little bit of extra push on towards those towers. That's going to definitely help out. And it's also just the tempo as well. Getting the kill on to Leave, putting yourself in a position where you're not just beginning to slowly bleed out, fall behind. That's something that we know LCK teams can be incredibly good at, even if this isn't necessarily one of the best teams that you've got over there. Still can be an incredibly oppressive force. And 10 minutes in, I mean, this game, already a little bit back and forth, already looking pretty close. The fact that neither of these teams have particularly looked at the Drake so far has surprised me. Yeah, it's just a Chemtech, it's not necessarily a great one to get individually, but NIP, they really did show that they like to at least scrap around early Drakes. It's something they really like to do throughout the entirety of this year. It is now going to be started up by Naiyou. He's got good push in the bot lane, decent push in the mid lane as well, so...
Oh, this time VicLa does get Doinb, but the Shockwave doesn't have a ton of inherent damage value now. It does at least force perfect execution out from Doinb to get out of dodge. At least he stalled long enough for that dragon secure, so thanks mostly to Naiyou with his plays early here. NIP do grab the first 2 neutrals of the game. You rarely see that in a competitive game out of the East.
No, the fact you're able to get both of those is going to be really nice for them. Those just stats that you get to play through is going to help out. Especially as we're getting pretty close to those first items coming through. This is the point at which NIP do want to start scrapping. You can see you're already going to have that roundness through for Naiyou, Solokill as well. Just deciding to go straight on towards that little bit of anti-heal. Stop him from having quite such a bad time into the Renekton matchup. Now you're expecting these two to come face-to-face a little bit more. And those first items coming through for NIP, that's critical for them. BFX is still kind of waiting on the majority of those. Just Essence Reaver for Diable at this point.
And you can see VicLa's inventory. He's got the components of a Roa and a Tier. So it's going to be the 2 super scaling items here for that Orianna that needs to pack a pretty good punch with that J4 Ori combination we always look for. Not going to be a huge threat until, I mean, not just, gold, right? But even time with the Roa and the Seraphs to get both those in position. So BFX are really going to be at a damage disadvantage once we go into this mid-game compared to those assassin items, right? It's going to be Rocket Belt for Doinb. It's a Profane already done for Naiyou. You hope to see the LPL representative of our matchup here use that to get control of maybe a Herald in a couple of minutes here. Got a Mountain Drake coming, or maybe just look to scrap.
I feel like, I mean, especially for the LPL representatives, you just want to scrap at this point. You're in a spot where you think you could probably go. Rocket Belt is now going to be completed for Doinb, so they are absolutely ready to go. Right now, the BFX are just going to be hiding in a bush, will be spotted out, and Naiyou is waiting in the wings. They can go.
Yep, Diable's already going to pop the Coley to maybe say, hey guys, don't jump on top of me, but the Arc of Ruin comes across. Good flash from Diable, though, gets away from the supreme display of talent. Flash forward for Kellin to get the stun. He's going to get set up the flag and drag. They're going all after Naiyou, but the Pop Blossom delays time. It's the Cataclysm through for Raptor. The flash Arc of Ruin from Leave is going to force a dash, but Raptor goes all out to try and find a kill the BFX had no business of looking for.
No, they just don't have the damage at that point, right? You've already used your Kellin. You don't really have any remaining damage to pump on through, and Raptor just outruns the rest of his support in that situation, goes down, uses the flash and the ulti as well, so he's not going to be anywhere near as effective in this next scrap. Doinb is also just going to catch out
That's a level 5
Kellin.
Braum,
Yeah,
and he is dead. Good little instinct there from Doinb.
Yeah.
The veteran of this NIP squad sniffs out a kill and finds it.
Oh.
He actually is going to use the second perfect execution to go after Diable, who did not reset. He wants the wave. He's trying to cut it down desperately before Doinb can find that kill onto him. The barrier going to buy him some time. Another great dash from Diable, but Doinb goes right back in and will find himself a trade. But that's a 2-for-1 for one of the mainstay mid laners of the LPL.
There we go. Doinb has turned it on right here. He got minion blocked. Otherwise, he would have been able to walk away from that one without taking that final tower shot and made it a clean couple of kills. Still, who cares about that one? NIP, after being down a couple during the early stages, after having Leave dying through, all of a sudden, you pull a bunch of kills out, and it goes exactly where you want. You've now got 2 kills onto your Yunara, 2 kills onto your Akali. This NIP roster is coming together right here.
Now they've got themselves in a controlling gold situation with more fighting soon to come. We talked about a little bit ago that there weren't many neutrals to play for, and now we're getting into that window. Minute 30 towards a Mountain Drake and a Rift Herald as we look back at this very extended play it turned out to be.
I mean, look at this Kellin, right? It hits onto basically nobody. Niket takes a couple of shots, but it's really nothing too much, and all of the damage lands on Diable. But at this point, Raptor has just arrived a little bit too late, and the Pop Blossom does a lot to just delay this play. But watch, Raptor's sitting and trying to get something done the entire time that Cataclysm is down. Diable doesn't hit a single shot. He's not able to get close enough to make that work, and at that point, you've just gone too far.
Both junglers keeping an eye out towards this top lane little skirmish as VicLa takes a turret shot trying to get a wave into Doinb. Reset's going to come across, but maybe both teams showing their cards that they're much more focused on this Herald compared to the Dragon. Definitely NIP here who have Niket and Naiyou both show on this top side. For BFX, the question becomes, do we just go for the Dragon as we almost had another reset in the exact same place get punished by NIP, but VicLa's able to get out.
At some point, you're just going to have to leave that bush alone because it's clearly bad luck for the LCK representatives. NIP, though, they don't quite come away with any more kills on that set of fishing. They're just going to head back, take a couple of resets on through. Like you said, we've got some big objectives coming up right now. A few seconds now until we get the next Drake spawning onto the map. And NIP, they are moving all of their members down towards the bottom side. Solokill has teleport heading up to the top lane so they can get all 5 members involved. And all 5 members involved is kind of where both of these teams want to be playing, but in very different ways. BFX, they want to play a little bit more front to back, a little bit more standard, whereas NIP, they're just looking to cause chaos during these fights.
And again, it's the Naiyou camp lead. Oh my god, he's going to catch VicLa completely out of position. Supreme Display his talent. Doinb holding on to the perfect execution. VicLa commits the flash way too early. And another blunder from the BFX mid laner is going to cost them. But luckily, Doinb gets caught by Kellin, who finds those Braum passive stacks on the queue. And both mid laners drop off as this Dragon wants to start throwing hands with everybody else. He's missing the action. Oh, Diable. Oh, the Cataclysm. Believe is getting body blocked for Niket right now. The Pop Blossom not going to find Diable. He's hiding behind the Braum shield. Barrier comes out. Diable, though, with his own barrier, has enough damage to trade his jungler out for a kill of his own. Another 1-for-1 coming across here in the mid game.
It's another Pop Blossom from Niket that's beautiful to be able to just stall things out long enough to get that be a trade through. The kill also does go over to Leave exactly where you want that gold to be. And teleports back in means that this play is not even necessarily done. The Drake was never taken down. Naiyou is attempting to take it right here. Is going to try to get a stop is clear.
Oh my gosh, Naiyou's going to secure the Dragon. But at what cost? Kill over to clear. He picks up a shutdown that Naiyou is actually holding on to. So that Croc is now quietly 2-0, and we talked about how big of a player he will be in those later game fights as we get a look back at the trade of mid laners.
It's such an odd play here from Doinb because he needs to do the extra little bit of damage to get the kill onto VicLa, but they just completely lose track of where the remaining BFX members are, and if you'd have just allowed the mid laner to walk away, yeah, it's not ideal, you would have liked to have picked up that kill, but still, you wouldn't have ended up dying, and it would have very easily been your Drake, wouldn't have had to give anything up for it. And in this situation, it's just Niket bailing leave out. He stepped a little bit too far forwards, and it was a good attempted catch from BFX. In fact, they're able to trade it 1-for-1. Absolutely reasonable for NIP there. They come away with the Drake.
They're also going to come away with the feats of warfare off of their monster slaying ability in this one. They also have 3 grubs in the first 2 Drakes, so that is a lot of cushion for NIP to lean into. This picture-in-picture looks like we're getting a replay. Oh, yeah, they did end up killing off Clear.
Okay, right. Interesting. It looked like he should have just been able to walk away, but I guess Clear stuck around a little bit too long and ends up paying the price. First tower also going to go over to NIP, so they would have had themselves those feats of warfare, whatever ended up happening around that Drake. A really nice look so far for the LPL representative. They've had themselves a pretty solid early game, and other than giving a couple more kills over to their enemy ADC than you would have really liked, they've been able to weather the storm.
Whoa, solo kill. I don't think he knew Raptor was right over that wall going for the Krugs. Right. He's going to flash back under his turret, and it's classic Cassante things. We're doing it again. A solo kill outplays a Doinb here to rescue the second kill. Raptor thought he had a free prize of a kill, but solo kill had other plans here.
Oi, 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 copy pastas in chat, please. Cassante gaming right there. Like you said, I do not think Solokill knew that there were people either, but luckily the map rotation was already coming through from NIP, so they had support on the way in, and Cassante is also just one of those champions. Again, well played from NIP. They've made a couple of nice plays work for themselves proactively, but also their reaction to anything BFX is trying to do has been really sharp. They've been getting members over, they've been punishing any BFX oversteps, and that's 2 more kills into their back pockets already. We're pre-20 minutes into this game, and it's already a 3k gold lead.
Welcome to the world of LPL gameplay. BFX, their first matchup against a China representative. And who has the gold leads majorly? It's the double assassins, both up 1,000 gold apiece right now between Naiyou and Doinb. So for everything we talked about with this draft for Ninjas in Pyjamas, they are right in their wheelhouse, moving into these pretty critical objectives we're going to be fighting over, mainly the Otacon, spawning in under a minute.
Big objective right here, especially for NIP. They've been able to just completely control the objectives so far, and grabbing that one would be huge, but of course the Otacon is one of the easiest objectives to throw around, so we'll have to see what their setup is going to look like, especially with a composition like this where you're trying to get a lot of backline access, make these team fights messy. Having enough vision around where your opponents are is going to be critical.
Calling coming out for Diable. They have the exhaust on top of Leave, who's caught out of position. Diable going to flash into his own redemption. Leave buys himself enough time to get him out, but Diable has him marked, but Leave is dashing away. Kellin's here to fall. Diable going to link back up with VicLa as it's a nice ride through here for Raptors, trying to find all these knockups and wrap back around to actually crash into the mid-tier 1 turret.
Take it.
He's going to take it. He's going to hop right back into the Rift Herald. No, he can't do that anymore. He's going to flag and drive away from Naiyou. And it's NIP that come away with the only kill there, but a mid-tier 1 turret's very valuable unless they catch Raptor. Flash, flag, and drag out, and oh boy, clears on the back line, and Leave this time has nothing to save him. No summoners, no life left. TP comes in here for VicLa as well, but they have to worry about Doinb, who also TPs behind the general of this NIP squad. The veteran won't find an angle back in here, and it's Clear that finds a kill onto Leave, his 4th death of the game. Maybe another kill onto a young player from NIP. Naiyou, greedy scuttle crab. You're going to have to pay the tax with your flash there, my friend. And if he doesn't get out, Otacon could be a real threat. But even with him surviving, Raptor's making the call here, Bloxer. Time for BFX to take a crack at the Otacon.
Naiyou going to desperately try to heal up by taking the Krugs, but he does not have a lot of life still built in right now. Just about going to get himself up to 25% HP. This is 2 people versus the world, although Doinb, Niket, they're trying to collapse in at this point.
BFX are being baited in by the classic LPL Otacon throw, and Doinb knows it, perfectly executes Raptor out. Pop Blossom gets canceled, though, by a big Kellin coming out from Diable. Does he have enough damage for Naiyou? He does. Diable untouched is a big problem for NIP to deal with. The Prodigy 80 carry once again stepping up for BFX, and he has silenced the doubters of the LPL.
Just Leave now at this point versus 4 members of BFX. There's no smite, of course, and these are a lot of low health people. Leave pops the ulti. He wants to play this.
Yeah, but he runs out of that transcended form, so a lot of the bite out of this Kiara is done for. The Glacial Fissure to push him off. So many low health bars. It's so enticing, but it's a poisonous feast that Leave will not go to chomp down on. Somehow, BFX get away with an Octagon that really just felt so illegal.
Absolutely. I think part of the problem was that NIP decided to play a lot of that fight underneath their opponent's tier 1 tower and just in a lot of split situations and not in the messy team fight way that you're looking for with this composition for NIP, but just trying to play individually. Nobody got on top of Diable, and that's the key. He's their superstar AD carry, an absolute young gun for them. And if they're not able to make him uncomfortable in these team fights and get him stopped, this is now a 3-item Lucian. He's going to be ripping heads.
Got the armor pen as well with that LDR early, and that is a message to Solokill. You can stack all that armor, but I can even shred through your health bar here.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to need Diable once more. Remember, this is Infernal Soul Point, so BFX aren't very comfortable just giving this one up, but the Dragon's already very low. 50-50 going to have to come back here from Raptor. Doesn't even get it. Let's see how angry BFX are about losing that Soul Point. It's Raptor with the Cataclysm down, but he flag and drags towards his own doom. Again, Raptor going a little too far forward on his own. It's the rest of BFX. They're going to have to find a way to pick up the scraps, but there's nothing to even grab. No morsels. NIP have a huge win con available to them for the rest of our game 1.
And it's such a underrated part of a Nico's game, but Tangle Bobs is just an infuriating thing to try to play against when you're chasing into your opponents. You chase in, it immediately roots you up, and then what can you do at that point? There's nothing that you can do to make that gameplay work unless you flash over it or you've got extra movement abilities to get into the backline. And once you've already lost your Jarvan in that fight, there was no way. NIP, they're just able to retreat away.
Doinb?
Like I said, he's chilling. He's just being a Kali. This is just the annoyance you expect, right?
Does use the ult for that little engagement, but
well, like the
Octopus was really good.
Was up. Yeah.
Octopus are very smart animals. Very smart animals. It's actually a very that's a whole rabbit hole I could go down. Actually,
total ball knower, that one as well. Like I feel like that one predicted like almost everything up to like the last couple, pretty much perfectly.
I think so.
I think this grasshopper's doing worse than the octopus. We can now have a tier list of different animals predicting sporting events.
You know what, Bloxer? I think you're onto something. You might that might be a banger social media post that you could get away with. I'll give you that one. I won't steal that one from you. I am going to steal the attention though of everybody as we are back into the game. Seems like just a little pause that we got through casually. Maybe a spilled drink or a mouse battery dying. Nothing major to deal with, nonetheless.
Yep. It always gives me a little bit of extra hope when we go into pauses when it doesn't happen mid-team fight. When it's mid-team fight, somebody thinks a bug's happened, and that's always a little bit of a longer pause. But when it's between, it's usually just a little bit of a connection, a little bit of a mouse or keyboard issue. So things nice and quick for us to jump back in. 24.5 minutes into this game, and there is now going to be a small gold lead for BFX. It's only about 1,000, 1,500, so it's nothing too much, but it is interesting looking at where that gold lead is, because there's 2k in the top lane, nearly 2k in the bottom lane as well for BFX, and NIP, they're in the lead everywhere else.
All right. 12 measly seconds. Baron spawns on the Rift. I wonder how much pressure NIP want to put onto the Baron now, because a very uncomfortable spot for any team is having to worry about a Baron to play or a Soul play. So keep in mind that in 2 minutes 30 time, NIP will have the chance to grab themselves Infernal Soul in a game with Akali and Qiyana. I would like to see our LPL squad here exercise some patience, because it is very hard for BFX to make any sort of argument or really get in a comfortable position, Bloxer, knowing both of those threats are looming at the same time.
You're absolutely right, Slayer. The onus is very much on BFX to either force a play around Baron right now to just avoid that crossover time, or to just get all of their setup going right now and make it so that that double option is not available to NIP, that they're not getting pulled around the map. I think in this situation, right, yes, the Baron is very big, but you've got all of your tier 1 towers still available.
Oh, there we go. No Cataclysm, just the Shockwave first. Raptor is going to get the Supreme Display of Talent out of Naiyou, who's just trying to protect himself. Cataclysm still available. Diable is actually going to catch Naiyou. That's Pop Blossom out of Niket as well. Those are two pretty critical ultimates to NIP's game plan off the board as the Baron sits in the top river.
That's crazy to just be blowing these massive ultis before anything really too big is happening. Now Leave going to take a chunk of damage as well from the culling.
Niket! Whew. A couple of those last shots get him very low, so it's going to be resets from Naiyou and Niket at the same time. How could BFX take advantage of this?
At this point, you've just got to get all of your vision on through. You've got yourself a little bit more of a standard front-to-back team fighting composition. Maybe you'll get a little bit of a flank off of clear as well. All of that is only going to be possible with some good vision setup already. And so far, so good, right? Nobody's really warded around the bottom side of the map. Saw the Drake spawning in 50 seconds time. But top side, you've got a couple of deep wards. You've got some good vision going on for BFX at the moment. If they're going to be able to win these fights out, this is critical. And so far, it's looking good out of the LCK side.
Keeping mind of those ultimates we just saw, VicLa already has Shockwave up. He's level 16, so ultimate advantage is here. TP from Solokill, and we do see Ninjas in Pyjamas at least be able to weather the storm of that topside play, and now the threat of this dragon. Oh boy, why? Oh man. That is the worst time for... Oh, I hope this is an observer freeze. I pray this is not happening live on the server. Yeah, it's not. Look, they're playing back there. I see a lot of red back there. A lot of people have died. All right, like multiple people watching, but if they do back out... Oh? Okay, so...
We're in?
Wait, okay, the fight's about to happen here. We reround
back.
The time.
Back. Right.
Oh, no.
You've never seen this before.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't rewind because Raptor just got the dragon. No, that was the Soul Dragon. Okay.
But Niket.
All right, so I see Diable is 7-1. He was not that fed earlier. No. I'm pretty sure Clear didn't have 4 kills yet either. I think it wasn't as bad as we originally thought it was, but it definitely was enough for BFX. I want to say we're maybe a minute past the point, but we saw Raptor finish off the dragon. So that would have been what had happened right after the play. Man, this is a head scratcher to figure out.
Interesting. Okay, well, I mean, we could always just ignore whatever just happened, jump back in as we see it right now, which is with the Baron setup. This is definitely still the first Baron of the game, so we at least know what's going on here. And right now, BFX, they've got themselves some good positioning around the objective. Solokill just going to get a little chunk taken out of him by Clear. Nithing too much at this point. The top laners really aren't going to be hurting each other too much. Okay. Kellin just caught.
Kellin completely caught out. Good pick there from Niket. They don't even expend an ultimate outside of the Supreme Display of Talent to get that one.
Yeah.
How bullish do NIP now feel to just go after this Baron? Doesn't seem like they're very content just yet. They're just going to try and push down this mid-tier 1 turret. They're trying to catch VicLa on this TP. He's going to immediately have to flash away from his turret at the threat of some sort of CC chain coming across. So back-to-back, pretty big blunders for BFX to make at this juncture of the game.
Yeah, I mean, giving away that tower and then having to instantly flash, really rough for BFX. Potentially just not feeling quite so good after that pause that we saw, but good NIP are going to be able to wrestle their way back into a little bit of control in this game. They haven't been able to go back and take any resets in a little bit, though, so it's going to be sat on a little bit of standing gold. We've got 3 minutes until the next Drake is going to spawn, and obviously the Baron is still available on the map. Every single Drake, every single 5 minutes is going to be a big play for BFX because they really can't afford to give this Infernal Drake over.
All right, Naiyou. Once again, looking to go after Kellin, who's trying to use that ice shield that's quickly getting melted. Is this deja vu? It's again Kellin getting caught on ward duty.
I mean, this is not what we were predicting, right? When we're talking about people who are likely going to step up and get themselves caught out, it was both of the ADCs had a bit of a propensity, and VicLa sometimes on his way to fights would just be in odd positions. We were not expecting Kellin to just get himself caught. He was one of the players we were most excited for. Culling, again, going to come on through, but mainly takes a chunk out of the clone and not out of the real version of the Nico. Just going to be a quick reset coming on through, and we'll see what that's going to turn into in terms of items. All right. Full 3 items now completed for Leave, so he's pretty scary, plus a little bit extra. Yeah, I mean, he's in a nice spot.
I mean, Diable getting this IE is also huge. Like, the damage is completely preposterous for this Lucian. Both ADs are at a spot where they will delete enemies if they are in a comfortable spot to do so. I just wonder if how much the pause has definitely helped NIP. The momentum the BFX had off of whatever we missed is completely out of the air right now. This game is completely even, and it's all going to come down to the playmaking around this Baron. But you'd think it's the Baron, but it's the Dragon side that they're looking for. And is it just supports into way the game day right now? Niket now dies. Clear picks him off, and they have more than enough damage to get rid of Solokill. 1 versus 5. And IP really just said, hold my drink, BFX. We'll show you really how to throw before an objective.
Yeah, if anything, the LPL.
Oh my god, bro.
Okay, maybe.
Undefeated run for the predictions of the Grasshopper. You can use that information however you'd like, as we do go live back for the 3rd time in our game 1 here. And it's a Baron start for BFX, as we expected.
Yes, this is absolutely what we were expecting. Obviously, Naiyou is still available to potentially go for a steal, but he doesn't think that it's going to work out. Just going to wander on down towards the bottom side of the map. I wonder if they're just going to try push through this bottom lane, potentially get some waves going so that this Baron push isn't going to be anywhere near as strong, but this has just been so rough right here for NIP, losing out onto just some key members, right? Niket is a big part of your team fights, and then Solokill dying too just sealed the deal. That's going to be a Baron power play here for BFX. They've got themselves all of the inner turrets to take, so that's a ton of gold they can grab if they're able to push forwards.
And at this point in the game, the value of these assassins has dropped off markedly so. You mainly want to point out just the health bars. Like, Kellin's very healthy with his items. Clear now has a Sterex that really is going to prevent him from getting popped. He's going towards a GA as well with that token in his inventory. GA is done here for Raptor as well, so you can't fully blow him up and get rid of him. It's Raptor. Oh my lord.
Okay.
All right, guys. Ping diff. All right. All right. Niket's come through the 3-hand bomb blossom. They get Diable. Oh, my God. The positive is benefiting the LPL. I can't believe what I'm seeing in front of my eyes. They get the GA now out of Raptor. He is as good as dead. Another kill comes through for NIP, and now they get the Infernal Soul, and we go back seesawing the other way in our game 1.
There we go. Niket's like, my bad, guys. I threw that previous play away. I will pay it back. I will make sure that we're back into this game, and hits a massive pop blossom right there. Clear as well. Gonna try his best to get on over a wall, but he's in a 3v1. Pops the Dominus.
Okay. I mean, just don't go near the Croc until he loses his ult. Yep. Pretty easy plan here. Clear knows he's like, can I please at least get Naiyou? Nope. Stun locks, all out, pulling it back. Sterex, he's trying to double dash through. Doinb gets really low. He has to pop his stasis. Good flash away for the public execution out of
Oh my god, he gets one!
How does
No!
Clear get one? Back in his Kellin here now to cover. It has to be a solo kill flash to save that play. But it's a flash forward from Kellin. He just deletes Doinb. By the way, this entire time, Niket and Leave have broken the base open of BFX. Oh, man. This is game 1, everybody. The whole
this
day.
Feels like a proper, you know, drag them down into the mud and beat them with experience kind of game right here. This is LPL at its finest, and I mean, what is this game? Now is he caught again?
Supportal combat! All right, here we go. Diable's trying to catch up. Oh, the heal to speed Diable up. I think Niket's out. Oh, no, he's not.
Raptor.
No, he's not.
Raptor.
Niket is not out. Raptor has Cataclysm. There's no flash. Niket is going to die. There is no way for him to save his life here. Diable will pick up the kill.
Okay. Out the back of that one. Still. You end up with a 2k gold lead right here for Ninjas and Pyjamas, and critically, they grab themselves the Infernal Soul.
We're not. Nah, man, we're not push camping. Okay. If it was anyone but Solokill, they'd die, by the way.
Absolutely. But luckily, Cassante is a champion of all time. But yeah, as we were talking about earlier, right, this composition with the double Assassin and a Yanara on board, as well, to be honest, as the Nico, with the Infernal Soul, this is a huge boost to the damage that you were doing. And Ninjas and Pyjamas were already having a pretty good time in these 5v5 team fights. They were kind of only falling behind because of getting picked off. So if they can use this one effectively, you know, use their vision and not get death brushed in any following team fights, they should be NIP in a good spot to be able to win this game.
Who is going to win this game? Can both teams lose, like low-key?
It's so possible. It's... surely, right? I mean, hey, if we have too many pauses at some point, we just have to delay, and that's basically nobody winning.
This is completely thrown any rationale or logic into this series out the window. We have seen the highlight reel we're going to roll after this game is going to be one. It's going to be a generational one. We are at the point now, though. You can see it's full build 80 carries on both sides, so gold gleeds are starting to matter a little bit less as time goes by. But it's just going to be the AD carries pushing a lot of the damage. It's the same things we talked about from draft. What kind of flank angles can Naiyou and Doinb find, and how compact and precise can this front-to-back style for BFX work? It's all just going to come down to execution at this point. There's not a lot of huge gold leads to make a huge difference. Maybe it's the fact that Doinb is still pretty far ahead up against VicLa, who doesn't have a Rabadon's yet or a completed Zanya's. But outside of that, we're on pretty even footing on both sides.
Considering how much fighting, how much back and forth there's been throughout this game, the fact that it's only about 1,000 gold lead right now towards NIP isn't really that much. It's all those effective stats that they've got for themselves, you know, picking themselves up that Infernal Drake, grabbing those Feet of Warfare as well with the upgraded boots. But also, everything we're saying right now about execution, it may be in the big team fights as you would hope, but also that execution might be, do I face check a brush? Or do I not face check a brush? Because we've seen multiple times already in this game where both teams have had players, especially their supports, go for a little bit of a warding mission and end up in Grey Screen Simulator, and you do not win any of these 4v5s. That will just completely ruin any of your plans before they even start. 40 seconds until the Baron's going to be on the board, a minute 50 until there's an Elder, and an Elder could be pretty enticing for some sort of flip, some sort of just, hey, we'll try it out here.
A lot of caution from the Ninjas of Pyjamas right now. They're giving a lot of land up in their own jungle. They do have a very juicy TP ward behind Raptor currently, if Doinb or Solokill want to go for it by this point. Kind of leaning on the fact that they can get some of these Infernal pops out, and they're trying to set up those flank angles. It's Naiyou going for it. Oh, it's actually Niket. I've been Nico'd. He's going to get spotted on this ward.
He's falling for it.
He's going to clear out the control ward and pull BFX away. Oh, on the top side of the fight, though, they're going after clear. They use the ball on top of clear with the dominance. Naiyou's very low early on off. The GA is going to get popped out of clear, and it's the dunk down coming across from Raptor. Picks up the first kill. Diable is completely untouched, running amok on the back line of this fight. Niket's down less. It's a Diable diff once again in the twilight of game one that makes the difference for BFX. You talked about the Baron. You talked about the Elder. None of that means squat. It's time for BFX to walk it down mid lane and end us from suffering through this game one of chaos.
Hey, it was really nicely played by Diable, but also got to give credit to VicLa. Huge shockwave that he was able to land in that fight that really seals the deal over. Oh, it's only going to be Naiyou left up, and he's just going to have to head back to base right now. The Cricket does still think the BFX is going to win. Grasshopper, sorry, does still think the BFX is going to win. And like I said, this one should just be a nice, easy walk into the base. Back and forth game one. It goes the way of the LCK.
We're 40 minutes in, so these death timers are long, but Niket's up in mere seconds. Doinb follow 10 seconds behind. This is actually going to get very risky for BFX. They're not getting rid of the Nexus turrets in close enough succession.
And
they know it. They're going to have to go out, but it's another VicLa shockwave that calls game here for BFX. The player we were looking for, the most sort of form return out of for BFX. Many calling the weakest link of this squad. Just silenced an IP in game number one and was the difference maker when all the chips were pushed into the middle. Game one going to BNK FEARX.
Okay, and remember, this is not just for fun. This is for a big old prize pool, and this match right here is for qualification into the playoffs. You win this one because it's a single round robin between groups of 4, means that you win, you're in right here after their win yesterday. Absolutely massive. Put yourself on game point right here for BFX, and I mean, we can't say it was dominant. We can't say that it was clean, but in the end, a couple more clutch plays coming through.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to go back down memory lane of this one. It goes 40 minutes, and then you can tack on, I don't know, I guess I'm guesstimating here, Bloxer, at least 10 minutes of pause time, I would say.
I mean, yeah, we're at 10 past the hour, and the game's draft started pretty much on the hour, so there definitely was at least 10 minutes of pause time there.
Quick math there from Bloxer. Yeah, so a grueling game number one, and I wonder how much like the mental factors into a game like that. We don't necessarily know why a couple of the pauses happened. We know one was for the observer tool messing up, but outside of that, like multiple pauses, we saw like some jitters from guys like Doinb just trying to get the frustration out. So if you are NIP to lose a game like this, that you definitely were in control of to win in multiple points. Hopefully that doesn't, affect this squad going into game two.
No, we really want to see them give us all 3 games. I mean, I want Slayer to cost 3 games for every single series, 9 games.
Oh,
set.
thanks, Bloxer.
You'll have the best time of it. No. In this situation, I just want NIP to be able to fight back, right? Pick themselves up and win. we thought that this team was going to be close to what BNK FEARX had in their back pockets, and I think we were right. I think 1 or 2 moments in which the NIP members don't make odd misplays. Leave steps up a few too many times. Niket, again, just kept walking up and getting himself caught out. A few little execution and decision-making errors out of NIP is what cost them that game overall. They were totally in it right till the very end, though.
Listen, the LPL is only a third of this tournament. I guess a little bit more than that mathematically. That's an LPL gold graph, everybody.
Oh.
Enjoy it. They've brought it to the ASI.
Absolutely. You could never get away from it. And, hey, the player that we were highlighting at the start, Diable, he was just insane throughout that game, right? There were a couple moments, you know, where he just was a little bit too far forwards, but it felt like a catching bug throughout the entirety of the game. And when the moment called for it, when he needed to step up, he was really clean. He was pumping the damage.
Yeah, ends up miles ahead of anyone else in that department. I wonder if we lost the replay footage because of the observer bug. I actually wonder, because this is normally where they go straight towards those replays.
Yeah.
I think that might be an unfortunate reality of the bug that we had. So we'll have to see. Maybe there was a bit. Maybe there was a bit of a break. Producer Adam is reminding me. Okay, I've lied to everyone. Here's your highlights.
You never know. Sometimes it does just happen like that. And I think you pointed it out about, what, 26 minutes into this game, that the highlights were going to be crazy. They were going to be incredibly back and forth, and yeah, they absolutely are. As we saw with the goal graph, this was not an easy one-sided game, and it all sort of kicks off from NIP trying something, trying to move their bot lane up towards the top side, get you an easier lane for your Yanara, something you don't have to worry about early on. And it didn't work. He just pushed a little bit too far forwards multiple times, as Leave often likes to do, and the punish came through from BFX. He didn't feel like the difference maker in this game, though, because it was so messy.
You do have to wonder, right? In a couple of these really close fights where Leave, you know, maybe trades 1-for-1, Diable's able to push out a bit more damage. How much of a different world are we living in if Leave isn't set that far behind? Because he never ends up actually catching up.
That's true.
Oh, this was the Cassante copy pasta. I totally forgot this play even happened with how much we had go down.
And this is Solokill starting this one off. Raptor pops out of a bush, and he's just like, I don't care about that one. Who even minds? I mean, you've even got your enemy Brom in the area, and it just doesn't matter. Results in 2 quick kills. NIP, they should have won this game. I think you're right. The fact that you never really get your Nara pumping the damage in the same way. I mean, it felt like, honestly, very close to the start of the game. Diable just was full build. He was 4 items incredibly quickly. He was full build by the end of that one, and you just didn't quite have that same level of damage. But still, it was totally winnable.
This was the fight that really started the Diable train. Naiyou going to be thinking a lot about that. Supreme display of talent, he whiffs. And yeah, okay, so I think we did, you know what, I guess I do get some points. I think we were right. We did lose a decent chunk of the replay. This is the final fight of the game. So
yeah, that was everything else gone. This is also a screen recording. Like, it's completely dark compared to what it was before. Yeah, something definitely did go bye-bye, and it's unfortunate because there was a ton of interesting plays throughout the middle of the game. I still want to know what it was that we missed when we lost that, like, minute and a half, because something happened.
Oh,
is this the
no,
play?
This is...
Or is that the
I think we're out of order.
Fight?
That was the big pop blossom.
Yeah.
I think... Are we almost... yeah, I think we were out of order. All right, we're going to MVP. This is going to be a Diable, by the way. I think Diable... Yep, Diable. So Diable is now 3 for 3 in MVPs in all of BNK FEARX's wins. That is an 80 carry diff
crazy.
By definition. Yep.
If you're looking at up-and-coming players and you haven't already heard of this guy, what are you doing? He's looking incredible. And as you talked about earlier, right, there's a ton of really, really impressive bot laners all over the world, but especially in the LCK. He's totally beginning to worm his way into that conversation. He's trying to actually fully make a name for himself. Was that saying that everybody did vote bot lane? That's good.
No. That was actually 3 out of 5. Clear gets 2 votes for the Renekton. I don't hate it. I do think Diable should win, but Clear does play a huge role in this Renekton. Especially, I mean, he's the one that delivered that shockwave for VicLa. So yeah, I think Clear does get some love here, being able to overcome the Cassante shenanigans coming across from Solokill. All right, let's all exhale. That was a wild start to day 2 of the Asia Invitational.
Yeah.
We're going to take a much-needed break here after that game 1. We'll be on the other side to likely see NIP approach a blue side draft and try and knock down maybe the hottest team in Group B right now in BNK FEARX. We'll see you guys in a few.